Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's football everywhere. All the football. Football. That's right. The football podcast. Everybody's here today. Me, James, Paul, everyone. So we're going to bring you what's happening in the football, what's going on in the games that have played, and what's going to happen in the games to come. If you're checking us out on YouTube, do us a little favour, click that subscribe button. That way we can bring you fantastic new content, and it lets us know how much you love us. So there's that. So here we go. This is CookieCast. You can't see the forest for the Tees. Whose turn is it?
James. Well, James, I'll bail you out then. Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen, to another thrilling instalment of You Can't See the Forest for the Tees. Yorkshire, nay I say, the world's preeminent Middlesbrough and Nottingham Forest-based podcast.
Getting a little bit of a following, aren't you? I'm not bitter. I don't want to suggest that I'm bitter. I'm not bitter.
Why?
Why would you be bitter? It's your podcast.
Oh, my podcast. I'm just here. Keeping you two in check. Controller.
Surely you can only get bitter when me and James break off.
Get a deal.
Oh, can you
launch our own branch of podcast.
It'll be called You Can See the Forest and the Tees. And I'll just be sitting here on my own going, Middlesbrough, they did something this week, I'm sure. Forest, less so.
You were left on your own just talking about Bristol City.
What you could do is just change it to incorporate some sort of, drop the borough from it, but incorporate some sort of Hull-based pun, and then just sign Matt and Stu up to be the replacement podcasters.
But is Stu not in a world at least for another 6 months where football doesn't exist?
Yeah, pretty much.
Or has he kind of like reneged on that since actually Hull are like bossing that league?
I don't know. He might do. It might be a case of if they come straight back up, he might just be like, well, I imagine he'll go back as soon as the alarms sell and like bugger off. He'll be back in the fold, won't he? So.
You call him a glory spotter?
No, the opposite.
Huh?
Quite the opposite. He's not staying away because of the fact they're in League One. He's staying away because he don't want to give any money to the, and I quote, robbing bastards. So.
Oh dear.
What a lovely start.
A soft open, as some might say. So. The normal way, after all the abuse, that we kick this bad boy off is by going with the what's happened this week in football.
Well, not necessarily in football, but as the viewers may attest to, I'm no longer, bushy. So that's happened this week.
You've been to Manscaped and got.
Oh. This week's sponsor, or
this looks like a cue to you. How about now?
Doesn't country have a no in it? Nope. Anyway, what has happened this week in football?
Not much.
No, not really. Middlesbrough momentarily forgot how to defend, but we'll come to that in a short while. I can't really think of anything, to be honest with you. Has anyone? No one's died that I can think of.
No. Oh well, people have died. Not in football, but football related. Those those dudes that decided to take some selfies of them with Maradona's dead body, they didn't last long. Andy seems surprised by this story.
Yeah, this was pretty horrific. So the people who worked at the funeral home, I think they actually did they actually crack open his casket? Or was it just already open?
Well, either way, open casket with Maradona in there. Decided to take some selfies.
Yeah.
Now, turns out which team is it? The Ultras of what?
Was it Newell's or it was either Newell's Old Boys or probably Boca?
I think it was Boca. I think the Newell's Old Boys was the Messi tribute thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I think it was the Boca Ultras. Tried to take master into their hands, and I don't think many of the people that took the selfies are living anymore, Andy. Oh, yeah, seriously.
It's brutal.
There
was like bodies found in skips. It's absolutely insane.
Wow.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Wow.
On a lighter note,
Jeez.
There's renewed talk of Messi to Chelsea.
is there?
Not before yet.
The only talk I've heard is the Messi to Man City to link up with Pep again, but that was it, really.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, I've not really got a lot from football this week, if I'm honest. Don't think there's been no deaths.
No. No big injuries from what I can think of.
Oh, well, you say big injuries. Jimenez had to have brain operation overnight.
Oh God, yeah, Jesus Christ.
That's kind of an injury.
Yeah, so he suffered a fractured skull against Arsenal, and obviously,
David Luiz.
Initial thoughts: hope he's going to be okay. Hope he has a speedy recovery. Next thing, trying to find out how long he's going to be out for because I've got him in my fantasy team.
He's got a fractured skull and has had to have an operation on. Said fractured head.
So it just brought up the talk about when it happened to Ryan Mason, didn't it? Because I think there was also a bit of like sort of controversy because I didn't see the game because was it Sunday or was it Monday? No, it must have been Sunday night. I was watching the NFL, so I didn't see it because I was too busy in the NFL. But it must have been a collision. It was a coming together of him and David Luiz, wasn't it? So Luiz must have gone off to get treated, then came back on, and all the sort of concussion people are like saying that's an absolutely ridiculous decision. Shouldn't have been made. He should have been off the pitch. Shouldn't have been allowed back on. Blah blah blah. So
Alan Shearer was not happy with this on Match of the Day.
They do need to. It's not hard now to introduce a concussion substitution that doesn't count against your substitutes.
This is what they're saying. They were saying that the two medics that ran on or whatever, that they go through the, are you all right? There's a test, there's a test, or whatever, and they've said he's fine to play. But they're saying those two individuals do the same job for I think rugby, and they've even done it for NFL or whatever. And they were like, it's weird because in football he's okay, even though they're trained. That wouldn't be okay in other codes of sport, even though it's the same individuals assessing him, because football has a different set of rules. So, you've checked out whether he's all right to play. You've bandaged his head up, but then you've made him go off because there's blood spewing through the bandage.
It's just not even slightly okay. It's just bizarre, especially. You can maybe understand it if he's playing in midfield, but he's a centre half. He's going to be heading the ball as soon as it comes into the box. So,
and there's all sorts of talk about how they want to ban heading in training and all sorts of shit there now, isn't there?
But I mean, you can't, can you? Because at the end of the day, it's going to be like an instinct. It's going to be a quick space reaction that you're just going to do it when the ball comes near you. You're not just going to sort of just go and just flinch out of the way of the ball, unless you're playing basketball and Ed throws the ball at you or something like that.
It's alright, he never mentions it.
No, he never ever mentions it. It's fine. I think it's going to be one of those ones that it's going to be very hard to remove it from the game or from training. It's just never going to be the case, because if it's just a natural response. It's a natural reaction. If the ball's there, you're going to head the bastard. So. Strange.
So I think that's all we've got.
That's this week in football, or last week in football.
Okay. Well, that's not all that happened last week in football. At time of recording, Nottingham Forest versus Watford is currently 80 minutes, but is 0-0. So
is this the first? Is this the first time we've ever recorded the podcast whilst games are ongoing?
No, we didn't. That was last year.
Well, we used to do games last year where like everybody's face was just bright white because the freaking TV was on.
Yeah.
So obviously, because it's live, just a quick update, bit of a coupon buster.
It's funny because we can't see the score.
3-1.
Oh, it's 3-1 now. I think it was 2-1.
Nice.
And also, I was surprised to see when they are playing, because didn't he get sent off? He can't have served the ban already.
Maybe it got overturned. I don't know.
Oh, I've just had a notification. Harry Arter, 84th minute, yellow card, dissent.
Doesn't sound like him. He's such a nice boy.
So, we predicted 4 games. 3 of those games have commenced. 1 is still in play. Don't want to be that guy, but I don't think we're going to get the scores that we predicted. Let's put it like that. I think the closest will be this guy. But we'll get to that momentarily. First game of the week that was predicted: Huddersfield Town versus Middlesbrough. Paul, how many total goals were scored in that game?
Well, I'm assuming the reason you're asking me, Andrew, is because, as you're aware, it was the Championship's best defence going up against Huddersfield. I have no idea where their attack is in sort of the realms of the league structure. But yeah, this is what I was alluding to earlier. Middlesbrough's defence apparently just went on holiday for a week. They managed to concede 3 goals, which is unheard of this season for Middlesbrough. However, they only scored 2 goals.
To give you a bit of context here, I'm in obviously a group chat with a couple of Borough fans.
Oh, I was thinking, who was these?
You are one of them, Paul, and you're in the
I'm
chat.
aware of this now. I've worked this out. But I was just thinking, hang on a second. Who was he mates with this Borough?
And Borough were 2-1 down, and there was some notes in there about, oh, this is going nowhere. And then one of them, I can't remember which way around it was, one of them was like, spoke too soon, penalty, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, fucking hell, they've got out of jail again. And then I never watched I never, checked the end of the game until, about an hour later. It's like, those texts didn't last very long, did they? Did age well, I think is the phrase.
Definitely not. So, one small side note. I believe we will have done the podcast last year after me and James had been to the Huddersfield 0, Middlesbrough 0 game, where Ashley Fletcher...
It was a cold shit night.
Was a cold shit night, but it only cost us a tenner, so... However, that was the infamous game where Ashley Fletcher managed to miss from about 3 yards out.
I think Paul turned to me, if I remember rightly, and was just like, his contact's too good. Any shit contact, and
it's one of those where he's hit that too well. If he just shings it, it goes in. If it hits him, it goes in. Because he's tried to absolutely leather it in, he's missed it. Brace Ombolongo went one better and managed to miss from even closer this season. So obviously, the John Smith Stadium is just a place where Middlesbrough strikers love to miss open goals from pretty much on the goal line. So, however, he did manage to slot away a penalty.
I was happy at this point.
Johnson So Marvin, second game in a row. However, they did concede 3 goals to... Nope. Not that good. Can't remember. Let's have a look. I want to say Fraser Campbell was one of them. He was.
Yeah, absolutely was.
Carol Eiting, Fraser Campbell and Josh Karoma. Terrible.
So, from a score perspective, from our score perspective, nobody really saw that coming. Paul was very hopeful. If he'd have had the teams the other way around, he'd have been even more hopeful. Nobody got points for the scores. Luckily for everybody involved, though, every single person said that Britt would have a goal. So everybody got 1 point from that game. Which takes us on to Nottingham Forest versus Swansea City. James, what happened in that game?
Well, I think it went according to plan.
For some people it did. Not Forest. Not Paul.
Do you think that'll be a draw? Mental. Yeah, we lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lost. Oh no. Oh, my dad just walked in there and he thinks I'm talking about tonight's game.
He thinks he's talking live.
What about the live updates? No, you can rest assured that it's still 0-0.
So yeah, honestly, I can't remember the scorer. It wasn't the one I picked.
Connor Roberts, I think. Fun fact: ex-Middlesbrough loanee Connor Roberts.
None of the people that were predicting goals, which was all of us, picked Roberts. So no points for goal scorer. However, James had so much faith in his team that he went with a 0-1 to Swansea, and so did I. So both me and James took 2 points out of that for getting the correct.
I think I'm adopting a good thing this year. Last year, I predicted a 3-0 win every week for Forest.
Yeah.
Didn't go so well for me. So I'm like, if I predict a loss, either I get some points on the podcast, or if it goes wrong, my team actually win. Either way, fairly happy.
So this is the Adrian Durham principle of you should always back against your own team if you're betting, because you'll be happy either way. So either you'll win your bet and you'll have some cash, or your team wins, so you're happy that your team's won.
Yeah. So, for the first half of the games for the week, total scores on the board. Paul lagging in the rear with just 1 point. Both myself and James.
Where is happiest?
Well, I was going to leave it I was going to leave it unsaid.
Shots fired.
Both me and James finished that half of the week with 3 points each. Let's see if one of us can keep up those points. Back round to Middlesbrough. And back round to goals. Middlesbrough versus, who's this? These guys sound familiar. Swansea City. Now, the Forest boys could not put them to the sword. Could Middlesbrough do any better, Paul?
They absolutely could, Andrew. They absolutely could. They have come away from the evening's result. The evening's work with a fantastic 2-1 win.
Goal
was
scorer.
it getting a bit worrying when pulled one back.
Yes. The last 15 minutes was particularly galling, let's put it that way.
So we went from touching ourselves to touching cloth, as it were.
Yes, very good, James. Very good. Yes, nice. I like it. Well played.
The goal scorer.
A new name. A new name in the realms of the Borough goal scoring regime. It's a Duncan Watmore double, although his first was a very, very a huge deflection that wrong-footed the keeper. So, but yeah, Duncan Watmore with 2, and the Swansea City reply was from a gentleman by the name of Jan Dander.
Indeed. Now, in this situation, this is where clear points are to be had in this situation. Paul pulled what's known as a James and backed against his team. Not the right move. James pulled a Paul and went for a draw. Luckily for some of us have got faith. Some of us. So I took
Who would have thought faith in Borough would have actually paid off for you this season?
Crazy, isn't it? Absolutely mental.
He loves it. He loves it. So I took a little point out of that game. Nobody got any goal scorers, unfortunately. So currently, I'm just checking. Currently, what I pulled a point ahead to be at this moment in time winning this set of predictions. I don't want to jinx it, but I think the current, at time of recording, Forest game is probably going to end 0-0 at 90 plus 1.
94 currently, and it's still 0-0.
So,
you know what? 0-0, great result.
It is.
It's not a loss.
It will be. That will be. Now, Matt might correct me, but I think 360 minutes of no Forest goals.
4 games without a goal.
Shit,
that's pretty bad, James.
But at least Worrell's back now, and we've not conceded a goal.
Well, what I suggest we do is we keep an eye on that game, because you never know. Last minute screamer. And move swiftly on
I think if there's anything happening, it's Deeney penalty.
We have, as has been the theme of this season, we've got not 1, not 2, but 4 games to predict. Full time, 0-0. Right, there you go. 0. No.
So before we go in, what does that mean? I doubt any of us picked Forest getting anything from this game. So
no, everybody predicted Watford to smash it.
Three away wins there was predicted, so no points. Move on.
The winner for the week is this guy with 4. James, you got 3. Paul, 1. Must do better. See me after class. So, there are 4 games to predict, and I, being the generous host that I am, I've not only correlated all of the games here, I've already done my picks. Because I like to be
the eagle-eyed amongst the viewers will have actually seen one of Andy's picks.
Obviously, we get to play the game. This is the point where we get to play the game. Did Andy pick a player who A, actually plays for that team, B, is fit and healthy, C, stands a chance of getting on the pitch, and D, will actually stand a chance of scoring a goal? Bear in mind, one of them I've picked is a midfielder. Why not? So,
midfielders do score goals?
Yeah. First game of the week. Reading versus Nottingham Forest.
And how can you believe we've got more TV time?
I was just going to say, it's another TV game. This is mental. 12:30 Saturday. Forest. They have to play like. Do they all have like late bookings for dinner time or something? So they have to play like around 12ish.
Tier 3 in it over there.
Not like us tier 2 people.
Continue. I guess I'm going last.
So you're going last. I've already gone. So Paul, it's up to you. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to reveal myself?
Yes, please.
Comments below for the subscribers, obviously.
Can you just imagine Stu listening to it going, switching to video?
Wow. I don't know with this one, because Reading are on a bit of a weird slide at the minute. But did they win? They got a 3-0 win, didn't they, against somebody the other day? That sort of put them back on track. I'll go for a 1-1 draw. I reckon Forest will actually score this week.
Oh, Sky have just told me that it's 0-0. Took a while.
On the bobby then. Goal scorers.
Zhao for Reading.
Carvalho.
He scored at the weekend, didn't he?
Scored again tonight as well. And for Forest, I don't think I've picked him yet this season, so I'll go for a lolly banger.
I don't think he's even getting a starting berth at the moment, mate.
Started tonight.
Did he?
I think so.
Unless
he came on very, very early.
I have gone 1-0 to Reading. I've picked Baldock. James.
I've played around between 0-0 and 1-0 both ways in my head for the last hour or so. I think Reading are winning 1-0. And I think that goal will be by Mate or Might or Miat, whatever it's called.
Me!
Yeah.
Yeah, me!
And just like that, first game of the week's predicted. Let's move swiftly on to Stoke.
I've got no idea who we're playing this week.
Stoke City.
Stoke! Stokeist! You're anti-Stoke!
Obviously, Paul will go last in the picks, and as we know, I've already gone. So, James, would you like to go first or second?
I'll go first.
Go on.
And because it's Stoke, I'm going to go for 0-0.
Well, we don't need any goal scorers there. I have gone what some might say is almost the complete opposite, and I've gone 1-2.
Okay.
So
I'm loving that he's researched the Stoke goal scorer.
I absolutely have. Ince.
I don't know about that.
Now, is Ince playing at the minute?
See, this is where we get to play the game. He was listed.
Did he play the last game?
He was listed.
That's a career that just never happened, didn't it, really?
Tom Ince was on the bench tonight for Stoke. Did not come on.
It'll be fine. He'll play.
They've been saving him for the Borough game.
Exactly. They know how much he loves to score one goal against the Borough. And for Middlesbrough, I've gone with Britt because I mean, you know, it'd be crazy not to.
Rich vein of form.
Well, he was rested tonight, so he's ready and raring to go on Saturday. So.
And I've decided to jump on the Johnson train.
You're going for 3 in a row?
They didn't score tonight.
Oh, yeah, of course. All right, yeah. All right.
He's had his break.
And he's had his break and he's coming back to absolutely smash goals.
Yeah, so the chat earlier, Paul, was I following right that you were... Was it Wing you were talking about leaving?
Yeah.
Right, because it threw me a bit when Lewis was claiming he's not even championship level.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he says, where will he go? He's hardly championship. And that's where I was like, are we talking about Wing still?
Oh, yeah. Where they don't think he's champ quality. Well...
That's a bit of a burn, isn't it, that?
Considering he was arguably one of, if not our best players last season. So...
Paul. Stoke versus Middlesbrough. Hit me.
I have gone for a very strange 2-2 draw. Stoke are one of those teams that worries me for this season.
You now need to name lots of goal scorers. Or two who are going to get two apiece.
Well, just have a look at the team from tonight, because John Obi Mikel not in the 18 or the.
Oh, were you jumping on the ex-player?
Not in the 20. Sorry. Yeah, but it's a bit stupid to pick a guy who's got like 5 goals his entire career in it or something. So in that case, I'll go for Clucas.
That's who I'd have gone for if I thought they were going to score.
And Tyrese Campbell.
No idea who that is.
Kevin Campbell's son.
Oh, this has been a quiz question.
Has it?
Yeah, we've had this before.
So they'll get the Stoke goals. The Borough goals will be scored by Brit. He's not had one for a while, so I'll go for Chubba. Chubba time.
Okay.
Was he leading the line tonight if Brit was rested then?
Yeah.
That finishes up that game. As if we hadn't had enough Middlesbrough football. Oh, you've got money for us.
So, I have Reading Forest 1-1, Stoke Middlesbrough 2-2 for a double of 101.1. So, 101. James has the Reading 1-0, 0-0 Stoke Middlesbrough at 47.75 to 1.
Why are we now getting like weird decimals in all these bets? So every time now.
Who knows? Andy, you have Reading 1-0 and then Middlesbrough 2-1 with a double of 70.5 to 1.
Okay.
So the bookies are with me then?
Yeah. Yours is the most likely outcome. I'll have to stop us there as well because can't get any odds for next week's midweek games.
No.
Because it's Wednesday, isn't it? So it's like a full week away.
Mm-hmm. So,
Believe so.
as if we hadn't had enough of Middlesbrough's football, we're straight back on it. Preston North End versus Middlesbrough.
Ropey team, Preston.
Just beaten Bournemouth, haven't they? Can't win at home though, apparently.
No, that's why Middlesbrough are going to win 2-0 and Brit's going to score both of those goals.
Hold Wednesday at Deepdale.
James, go.
I'm really resisting the temptation to just go for another 0-0.
Do it.
But 0-0.
There you go. Paul.
This could be...
Preston 1. I think I had a bit of lag there. Preston 1, Middlesbrough 3.
Sorry, James, I didn't see you there. Who are scoring all of those many goals?
For Preston, I'll go for Tom Barkhazen.
Honestly, if he says Dick's the Electric, I'm going to lose my mind.
And then I'll go for Morsey. He almost scored tonight. Tavernier.
Are you resisting winning?
McNair.
Penner.
No, I reckon he'll do what he did tonight. He'll read an interception and then he'll just charge through and just smash it top bins.
At this point in time, is it worth taking a momentary break? Okay.
I think so.
For the people at home, no time at all. For us, merely 2 minutes. So, brace yourselves, because we'll be right back. And just like that, we're back in the room. And that room is this virtual room.
Back in the room.
This virtual room. One game left to predict. That game is Norwich City versus Nottingham Forest. So, I've managed to mix it here, where I've gone a little bit of something that Paul will like and a little bit of something that James will like. So, James will like his team getting beat 1-0. And Paul will like the goal scorer.
Do you know what? I think he's injured though. I think Sam was moaning that Norwich don't actually have a fit striker.
Well, let's have a look, James. Let's see what their.
He literally sent me a screenshot of their injury list at the weekend, and it is mental.
Well, let's see what they put on the pitch tonight against Norwich. Oh, small side note. Tonight's game at Kenilworth Road for Luton versus Norwich was one of the first to have fans back in the ground. There you go. Norwich's team this evening. Who the hell is? I'll give that one to Andy to pronounce.
Ooh.
Number 11.
Oh, he's definitely Polish, isn't he?
Rzemysław Planchetta.
Nice. Przemysław Planchetta. Yeah, we'll go with it.
So, 1-0 with Pookie.
I'll share you a picture after of literally their injury list at the moment. Is mental.
Paul, who have you got? Well, no, not who have you got at all. What score have you got?
Well, I was going to go 2-0, but now that I know that dearth of injuries they've got, then I'll go for 2-0 Norwich.
I've seen that coming.
Goal scorers?
So we've got a continuity error now. I've gone blue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I did think that. Is that just a standard punk?
I love a punk.
I'll go for a Buendia. And I'll go for... I get a feeling James might be pulling this one out, but I'll go for Vrancic.
I'll definitely be all over Vrancic. But have you noticed that all Norwich's goals are just Buendia penalties at the moment? That's literally all they get.
Right. James.
You know what? I think Forest are winning 2-0. And I'm almost doing it. I'm almost doing it just to bait Sam. But I'd love to be able to say Grabban. But I absolutely think he's still injured. But it'd be good though, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's what I said. We will go for Lyle Taylor, Hobbs. Do you know what? I'm really tempted to say something ridiculous.
A Bryce goal kick that just sails over.
Absolutely, a Bryce goal kick. Yeah. But I'm not going to say that. No, but that's what I was thinking, Paul. You're on the same wavelength there. Colback.
Oh, it's hideous.
Right. Okay. If if Forest are going to pull off a win against Norwich, it's going to have to be with some kind of shithousery. I mean, obviously, Yates comes to mind. But
the king of the shithouse nature. Jesus. Jack Colback. Wow. He is not good.
So that is that. That right there is that. All of the goals for next week are now predicted. The click of the pen has happened, ladies and gents. And that means there is no more to discuss as far as...
I honestly think we need to rebrand this section. It shouldn't be called predictions. It should be called absolute guesswork.
It's guessing with science.
No, it's just guessing.
It's just absolutely picking two numbers out of thin air.
You know what, right? What we should do, just as a little test is, if we can set something up, is we do our normal predictions, and in lieu of anyone else coming on, we just do like a random number generator.
A number generator.
See if it fits us.
How the hell are we going to do that, James?
Get a bingo ball.
Yeah. We'll just go by squad numbers, and when it pops out, whoever that squad number is scoring that goal.
I-23.
90. Oh dear. I suppose if we had a little bit of artistic license there, we could just go with anyone that was born in 1990.
Up there thinking, innit?
Absolutely, James. Absolutely.
So, that brings us to, some people might say, the finest point of the podcast, which is the any other business section.
I have nothing. I mean, at some point, we will have to discuss James's irrational hatred of all things Harry Kane based. But now doesn't seem any sort of better than any other week. So we'll wait till he scored. We'll wait till he scored that trick against whoever it is they're playing in Europe this week, and then he can come on and explain why he's not a very good striker, even though he's got loads of goals and that. Sound alright?
He is shit then.
He's not though, is he? He's really, really good. Nothing from me.
I keep seeing something on the internet about if you look across, and it's a bit convoluted. If you look across Europe's top 5 leagues, and you take the top 2 tiers from each of those leagues, the most prolific striker in Europe is Armstrong at Blackburn.
Yeah, he's certainly on fire. He'll be the. I'm sure there'll have been a striker who was on fire last season and ended up getting sold to someone in the January transfer window. But if not, he'll basically be this next transfer window as Ollie Watkins, basically. A guy who scored loads in the Championship will get signed up by whoever's down towards the bottom of the Premier League. And so it'll either be West Brom or Fulham or Sheffield United will try and sign Adam Armstrong.
Oh, yeah. Can we spend some time talking about how shit Sheffield United are? I'd love that.
And how much you're enjoying it. So is it played 10, lost 9, drawn 1?
Can you imagine if they carried on that ratio and finished the season with 4 points?
Well, to be fair, the one thing we didn't do at the start of the season was pick teams to win and get relegated from each division. And I must admit that if we were doing that, my Premier League pick would have absolutely been Sheffield United.
Me too.
So, yeah, I think that they're very much the epitome of the second season syndrome thing, because obviously what's happened is they've come up playing a style that people haven't seen before. So it's hard to sort of work out to play against it until you've seen it.
shithouse coaches in the Premier League because they didn't change their style from when they fucking pissed the Championship. So, I don't know on that
Who
one.
knows, James?
But it didn't help. Did Fulham pick up a win this weekend, didn't they?
They did.
Was that Monday
They
night?
beat,
Monday night? Villa?
Yeah, Villa 2-1. So,
Oh yeah, because they did the, what they call it, didn't they? Watkins and Ben Rama had a bit of a
yeah, that makes sense.
embrace, which I don't know was a...
No, they can't have done.
Oh no, was it the previous game? Oh, maybe they did play Villa.
I think they did play Villa. No, it was West Ham Villa, wasn't it?
That'd make more sense for the Ben Rama Watkins embrace.
Yeah. So Fulham must have been... Leicester?
Yes. I was going to say Everton there, but yeah. Leicester. It's all coming together for Man United to rise up that table, you know. Tell you what, they got out of jail. 2-0 down before half time.
Cavani, he's proving his worth.
Yeah, and then now they're all calling for him to ban, aren't they?
Yes, for his racially insensitive Instagram post or something like that.
I don't think apparently he didn't realise that something that is, I don't know, is it a bit more acceptable in Spanish, but when it gets translated to English it's not okay?
Yeah, something like that. But Neville covered it on the Monday Night Football thing, didn't he? He said like it's why has he not had to go through from like some sort of like sensitivity training or awareness training and stuff like that?
Yeah.
When he's
And it's not his message. He just like repost one of his fans' messages or something or like that. I don't think it was their words.
I don't know. I didn't actually see it, so.
No. He said some shit in Spanish that's apparently a bit racially charged, I think.
Not good. Not good.
But he is a good player. He looks good.
Great headers. Both of the headers were really well taken. So.
And he made the Fernandes goal as well, didn't he?
Did he? I can't remember.
Ran the right channel and got the cross into Fernandes.
But yeah, he looks good. So.
Sure, I just thought I'd shoe on some Man United into that. I mean, I can get some Liverpool in if you want as well.
Please don't.
Nah, we're good with that.
They were all bitching, moaning about VAR, weren't they?
Yeah. Stuart thanked us for you not getting Liverpool involved in the podcast.
James, any other business?
Hold on. Talks enough shit.
There we go then. Thank you both for joining me and keeping the lovely people up to date with what's going on in the football world. I'm sure we will do this again, probably in about a week's time, because that's usually how it goes. Until then, I'll say thank you and goodbye. Bye. So there you go. What do you think to that? Another one done. Another week of games gone. Another week of games to look forward to. It's all go, as they say. YouTube watchers, a little subscribe goes a long way. It helps the channel. It helps us. And ultimately, it'll help you in the long run. So, little subscribe. Everybody jump over to thecookiecast.com. Check us out over there. You can contact us. You can drop us a line. You can social media with us. All that juicy stuff. So that's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye. And I'll see you then. Bye.